All right. You know what time it is. It's Monday night, time for another open court discussion. I am your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the controversial counselor. Joining me is my co host, the big bad wolf, Herb Lewis. The panel is a Showtime decision, so we will wait and see who has their confidence up. This past Monday, we had an open talk discussion, which we discussed numerous topics. Please go back and check out the replay on the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor, or follow the reels from Facebook, IG, TikTok, or YouTube. Moving on to tonight, Monday, March 11th at 9 p.m., the topic will be what's the difference? Thick versus overweight, attitude versus being confident, resting bitch face, cool versus classy. I'm sure you get the point. Please like and share our video, and don't forget to tell a friend, coworker, family member to subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. Last check, I think we're sitting at about 552 subs, so the next milestone is 900. We got work to do, so let's go, family. All right. So we here tonight. But yeah. What's going on, Herb? What's going on, Anita? And let y'all do your little housekeeping thing, but I got a issue to address.
I am good, man. Just had a nice plate of baby potatoes, some baked chicken, seasoned well, nice glass of water, and my mixed vegetables. I call that a complete meal. Hey, I didn't make it.
Who made it?
Okay.
see the background's different. I'm not at home, people. I'm at an undisclosed location.
Okay. I guess you're doing better than some folks who've been hoping and praying for a meal. Well, I'm going to jump into it before we get into the topic. So, a lot of little lies and games going on. So I think I don't know if it was Friday night or Saturday night. I happened to be strolling through Facebook. I see this picture of this horrible looking dish. And I says to myself, let me make a quick caption. I said, so I posted, finally dinner, fit for a king. That they just took off with it. And it was mainly for women to kind of get them going. Because then I know they would say shit like, who made that shit? Oh my God. But WAP, W-A-P, I'm going to call your name. Well, should I call your name out? Because you were making little subliminal posts about me today, which you could have tagged me in. So Willie A. Price, one of our panel members, off and on, decided he wanted to go in and kept going in. So, meanwhile, I know this plate had no emotional connection to me. It was someone somewhere off of Twitter, Instagram. So all of a sudden, he kept talking. So I said, I'm going to play along with this. And I said, Willie, you act like you get a lot of good reviews on your dinner that you post on a daily basis. And then he, well, if that's your girlfriend or this and that, sound like that's more of an enemy. Just kept going on. Then he, remember, I'm a counterpuncher. I let people get their stuff off, then I respond. So he kept going. He hit me with like a whole week's menu of food. And I think the issue was when we posted it, people were like, they made comments on the original meal I post. And I'm going to show y'all that right now. It's going to block us out. But, when somebody try to push you against the ropes, you got to come back swinging. So I normally don't, post things like this, but I learned today. So here's the meal. Hope none of you guys are hungry because this is what was posted. So as you can see, now you know damn well my family, as much as they cook, ain't about to let me have no woman that's making a meal like that. I'm like, I don't even. That shit look horrible. But I
The
played
carrots
along
look
with it.
good.
It's probably about the best thing that looks good. It just looks disgusting. So we'll remove that. So I guess the Chef Willie, decided that he was, like I said, hit me with a barrage of things he made. Now, where he tried to reverse it, and he went on his page and kept saying, "Oh, posting that original post that I just showed the picture, saying, "Oh, it's this guy. I guess I can't joke with everybody. People can joke, but this guy's real. He's real hurt because his girlfriend made a meal, and the shit looks a mess, and he's mad at me, and he's been crying for like 24 straight hours. Huh? For real? Like, dude, you the one kept coming up with separate posts. So then when he posted his meal, I guess he didn't get the response he thought he was going to get, because people were like, both of them shits look horrible. And again, I don't have no emotional connection to the what I posted, but he did, because he made his meal. And they like, oh, just trash everything. Like, that shit look horrible. So that's when he tried to reverse it and say that I was upset. But he was really upset because, I'm sorry, dude. Now, you've been posting your stuff on the shit pretty much on a daily basis. I never said shit about it. Never said anything. I'm like, hey, that's what he eat. That's what he eat. I'm not going to come at you like that. But when you decide to come at me, and then when you started to spread little lies and all of this, his girlfriend made it, he in love, he getting all mad. No, dude. So this is the meal he posted. And again, if y'all hungry, I'm sorry. But here we go. What the hell is this? What the hell is this? Look like potatoes. I don't know. Idaho, with a whole tube of sour cream on it.
Looks like
I guess that's
mayonnaise.
steak. Yeah. Yeah. Then I guess he has two pieces of Texas toast in an old Jiffy popcorn container. Uh, then I don't know. That sauce looked like he'd been riding around with it in his trunk for a while. Decided to pull it out. And this is what he was going back and forth over. And I'm like, dude, that don't look no better. Actually, it looks like the same chef that made it. Now y'all tell me. What y'all think? But it's for me, and I don't want to generalize, but I don't. In her before the show, he said he's seeing a lot of guys doing more post with they post their food. So that's never been a thing of mine. So all of a sudden now I'm gonna pick the worst meal, and you're gonna be that gullible to believe it. I don't post food like that. Like I said, I'm from a family that cooks and plentiful. So I know what good food looks like and tastes like. So trust me. And I tried to get my way out and say, dude, I'm joking. This was a joke. But he kept on going. He woke up this morning running his trap. And I'm going to get off him for a little bit. But I got to give y'all some more of his favorites. Right here, I think it's called, this is his toasted lemon meringue strudels along with some vegetables. What the hell is that? Is those Jamaican patties? Anybody have an idea what that is? It doesn't look done. Willie, stop, man. Stop posting that shit for real. And I'm trying to be a friend to tell you, because remember, we always talk about a real person gonna tell you, dude, let it go, or don't let you step out with anything. Stop doing that. So I say it's two reasons why you post it. Either you're trying to convince somebody that you can cook, or you want somebody to feel bad for you. That's the only reason. Because, dude, that can't be it. That can't be it. All right, let me give you one more. Then I'm going to try to lay off of him. I think he got some fish over. No, I got to do this one. I'm not sure what this is.
Don't lay off now.
But I think
Post
it's
it all.
something. I think it's rice with maggots. Let me see. Yeah, little rice with maggots. I guess dirty rice. And I'm not sure the setup or the presentation of what. Anybody know what that's? That fish chicken look like cooked. Excuse me, look like cooked dicks. So I'm not sure what that is.
The presentation is horrible.
Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. So I'm not hurt. You were the hurt one, and dude, you need to step it up. You need to step it up. See, what I wanted to do was draw out females to talk, and then they post their little meals and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I see you. But nah, he jumped in and just wouldn't stop to the point that he ended up making up lies and made it seem like I was so hurt and going. He said I was all over social media, like I was mad. Nah, bruh. It was never that critical. And when you know something's a joke and you have no emotional connection to it, it's hard to be upset. And that's just, to me, a standard of anything. Like when people say stop hating, or you say you hate someone, usually if it's that deep, you know it's something personal. It's something personal. I don't know too many people who hate random strangers or whatever. So I'm saying all this to say there was no emotional connection to me and that meal. You got people in the background. Yeah, they're saying yuck. It has to be real because it's the same plate. That plate. Get a lot of reviews on that plate too. Somebody said I wouldn't eat that. I hope he's not either. Oh, he's eating it. He's eating it and bragging about it. But let him tell it. I was going to have to get my stomach pumped because of the raw shrimp and all that stuff. I ain't eat that. That wouldn't eat my plate. That actually, I couldn't find out who the person who did it, but I end up looking on my screenshots. Then I end up going to like, I think it was Twitter or something, and it was like a strand of people who had used that same plate. And so it's kind of been circulating around. So that's it. Willie, where you at? Curled up, folded up in the bed, stomach hurting from eating shit like that. What you eat today? I ain't see your post. Where you at? And you know I'm going to clip the hell out of this, so you going to hear it. All right. I'm sorry, people. Sometimes I can be real petty. I just can't help it. Sometimes you just got to be petty. You got to.
What you said you need? You said you need to bring back the unique counseling part.
Yeah, you need counseling. Yeah, because there's always a couple things that I say everybody want to be. Everybody want to be chefs on social media. Everybody want to be some type of counselor or therapist, or they want to be some type of pastor or deacon or religious figure. Those are the top three. It may be more, but those are the top three that come to my mind. So, Willie do it all. He do it all. He said Willie is on the toilet. Yeah, man. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't want to come at you like that, but you kind of forced my hand. Usually I'm just chill. I don't bother nobody. But if you slap me, then I'm going to slap you back. So that's just the bottom line. All right, good people. Now we're going to get to the nature of the business. But if you decide to come back, then we can keep it going. I love promoting. I love branding. I try to be like the Floyd Mayweather of this shit, so we can keep going at it if that's what you want to do. Or you can, or you can say, do a verbal apology and say, "I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry, man. I let it go too far."
I mean, Roberto Duran did. He say no boss.
Yeah. Because I also know, and I want to bring you to her, but I did see a comment you had made and said that you could catch kind of more when he said he couldn't wait to make for a woman to make him a Sunday meal, and you made a comment that kind of like you could catch more bees with honey instead of vinegar,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of like, oh, is that your professional opinion? So, what made you say that?
I always tell people that I'm not going to tell anybody anything that I don't live by. As I said, I had a nice plate before the show aired. I didn't prepare it. The individual next to me did. I'm at this individual's place. So, as I said, you're apt to catch more bees with honey than you are with vinegar. Now, you don't have to use that. You can disabuse it, leave it there on the table to sit, or you can utilize it. All I'm saying is, look, and I've been saying this, men and women, you need to have somebody on your squad who you're not trying to bed, who is actually your friend, who will do things for you. When you do that, you open up another world that gets you those things. But if you don't, and you keep destroying the path to your door, don't expect anybody to walk to your door. It's that simple. Like I said, I'm not a prophet preach. I'm not proselytizing. I'm just telling you how I live. So anybody that said, well, he can't do that or he doesn't do that, here's your proof.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with it. And it always goes by to one of my slogans that probably a lot of grandmothers say, but I know my grandmother used to say, you got to do right by people. And you do right by people, good things that happen. But it was another story I wanted to get into related to that. So before the show, I was telling her I never posted anything, and I probably shared this before. It takes me back to 5th grade. Probably one of my favorite teachers back in elementary because she was crazy as hell. Her name was Miss Nut. Perfect name for her. And I always say that these kids, they never gonna get the real because they don't want to listen to people's personal testimonies. And we would listen to teachers that, even though we're in a culture of storytelling, whether it's through rapping or singing, but back in our days we had teachers that told stories. So one of her things she would always ask us every day, like clockwork, okay, what did everybody eat last night? Me and my man, shout out to James Renford, we didn't subscribe to that. So they would go around and they would say what they had, baked chicken, this and that. And we never said anything. And then I remember one of the boys, see, I got a memory like an elephant. And name was, hope he's still living, whatever, he was a good guy. David Frashone has said he had liver. And we like, liver? We like, mind you, we're 10 years old. So we like, ew, liver.
Yeah.
So LaRuth, may she rest in peace, one of my good friends, had said, what are y'all laughing at? James and David, at least he ate last night.
Oh, wow.
We've been doing this. We've been doing this all year long, and y'all two ain't never said what y'all had to eat. It's okay. We like, it's okay. You can't shake us. You can't rattle us, and it's not going to get us to start telling what we had. So she kind of went in, but I guess the message I think Miss Nut was trying to do to see who was eating and who was not. sort of like a mental health or a check just to see, because we know nowadays that some kids, they don't eat at home when they get home,
Right.
and they wait to school. So, but LaRuth tried to make it seem like because we never shared what we ate, that it's a chance that we didn't eat, but we just laughed it off. And that was one of the lessons. And here's another story from Miss Nut. She was also some trick I still use to this day. When you have Halloween parties, Christmas parties where they don't really allow kids to do that anymore in school, we would all bring in our stuff, the Doritos, the cupcakes, and all types of stuff. When she got hungry, she was the first one to crack open that shit. She would crack it open. Mind you, our parties would be like after lunch, like around 1. And we look, and she like, oh, I'm hungry. Crack open some Doritos, start eating in front of us. And we're like, that's not fair. And then she like, I gotta taste it first to make sure none of y'all get sick. And and I still use that to this day because she was clever. Guess she was like, shit, all this stuff here, we got more than enough.
Yeah.
I got to talk and teach. I'm about to crack open these. I'm the first one to crack it open. So she did that. And here's the last story about her. So I'll probably have a couple things running back when I clip stuff. One of the things she taught, don't show out in front of company. And I remember, and he was my guy too, Donald Dash, big time. That's what they called him. He was Caucasian. He lived on North Avenue toward the end, but he hung with us. He was cool. So he decided, we had a substitute to show out. He snatched my skull cap, and it's getting ready close to dismissal time. And he running around the classroom showing out. And I'm like, dude, I'm counting to 10. I'm going to punch you in the face. Now, mind you, I was typically quite, well, I can't say in elementary. When I was in classes with like James and all that stuff, we would cut up a little bit. And so I counted down to 10. Still didn't have a hat in my hand. So I had to go. I had to stick to my word. So I ended up punching him in the face, busted his nose, and he went down to the nurse bleeding. The principal called me down, and all I remember is him getting picked up by his mother and like his older sisters, and I'm getting on the bus and they pointing at me like, yeah, there you go. And I'm like whatever. I might have to fight again, but he shouldn't have took my hat. So, but deep down inside, I knew I was going to have to deal with Miss Nut the next day. I knew it. I was kind of a little worried, like, damn, no, she going to get me. So sure enough, time we got in the next day, guess she read the note, the substitute notes. They used to leave little notes how the class behavior was.
Remember those?
She got in my face, nose to nose, and pretty much said, oh, you fucking tough now. She didn't say those words. She's like, oh, you tough? What you gonna do, punch me in the nose? And I'm like, I was like, well, he took, stuttering, he took my hat. She was like, oh, like kind of like that's what we do when substitutes. So she kind of let in on me. But then she got to Donald. Now, he had a couple negatives working because she always told us, keep your hands to yourself, don't touch nobody else's belongings.
Yeah.
And she roasted him for that. But then he happened to have all types of papers hanging out of his desk. Remember, you used to have them desks that flip over the top, and we used to keep everything in there, our notebooks and everything compartmentalized and all that stuff. And she's like, what the hell is going on with this desk? And told him to open it. He had shit everywhere. She like cleaned this, brought the garbage can over there. He throwing papers for days. Then he had some big ass earrings in there. So mind you, boys didn't really wear earrings. If they did, it was the like little ones, whatever you would have when you got your ears pierced. But he had freaking big ass women earrings. So she's like, what the hell are you, a gypsy or something? So she was just going in, and I'm sitting there like, woo, glad the heat was off of me. But that's who she was. So she always was she was into teaching you lessons, and those lessons always stick with me. It's another one too. When I was we was laughing at somebody doing math problems, and then I was pretty good at math. She called me up there, and I folded under the lights. I could not remember anything. The heat was on me. I think I was there nervous, and the chalk was hitting the thing, and I was up there for like 5 minutes and couldn't figure out. She actually, and I never told anybody. She actually pushed the dog shit out of me, like, go sit down, and pushed me all across the room. And I just went and sat down, and like, then I think she called James up there. He kind of did the same thing, and she roasted him because she's like, oh, you can do all the dancing during the parties when we have our parties, but you don't know math. So she let us have it about that for a while, but she knew I knew math. I just folded under the pressure. Math was like my favorite subject, so that was Miss Nuts. So I'm saying all this because I'm tying it in. Like, I never was one to put out what I ate. It's not what I do.
Yeah.
That's my business. That's my business, and I don't see the point of it. But hey, either you trying to catch, or either you want to be caught because you want somebody to appeal to empathy. My brother Willie, you are trying to get someone to make you a meal. Yeah, that's sad. Know what I'm gonna do next time I'm in town and my family has a big meal and all that stuff? I'll slide you something on your porch. I'll slide you a little something. You can post that and see what reviews you get, my man. All right, I'm done.
All right, we gonna get into tonight's topic, but I want people to understand first and foremost, this is not okay an attack on black women. It is an expose into black culture and how it has transformed over the decades into what is considered to be attractive, desirable from about the late 1960s till present day. All right, so just so people don't come in and have cocked and say, "Oh, they're attacking black women again," and this. No, this is a cultural discussion that takes place in a lot of different places. But we're going to try and refocus people so people can understand that it wasn't always like this, but this is what is transmorphed into, if I can use that word. Now, I was on a post with a perfect trisomin. I don't know, I was mispronouncing his name because I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. Trisominglist. And he posted a picture of Aaliyah. And he was saying that Aaliyah, I said Alicia Keys, I think, I'm sorry. Aaliyah had the perfect calling card in terms of her face. She was very attractive in her face, but she didn't have a body to speak of. Now, Aaliyah, like most of us listen to this, is a Gen X woman. She was born in 1979. And they were saying that black men weren't attracted to her because she didn't have the quintessential curves. Nobody that we grew up with in that era was considered to be quote unquote thick. The term didn't even come into the lexicon until about the late 1990s. And as evidence of that, I want people to go look at the video with Sir Mix-a-Lot and Baby Got Back. That song came out in 1992. So when you watch that video, I want you to keep in mind the size of those women in that video who were the dancers. None of them were bigger than a size 8. Keep that in mind. Soul Train, when they had the dancing line, none of those people were plus size. You didn't find a woman that was bigger than a size 6. So I gave you a parameter for the 1960s, 1970s. In the 1980s, Pam Grier was considered the quintessential sex symbol. We get into black exploitation movies, into the 70s, into the 80s. She was a size 6'8". So now you have your standards for those. It's not until we get into the, like I said, the late 1990s, 2000s that you start to hear the term thick. Now, thick for black men can mean a lot of different things depending on the men, because as black people, we move from light to very dark. We have women that are size 0 to women who are size 20. In that range, she will find somebody that's attracted to her physically. This is on the post, and I wish I had the link to the post. I'd actually share it. These are all the things.
Hold on, I just wanted to. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Somebody size 0, size 1. I'm gonna have to use a quote from my sister.
Mhm.
They got a freaking childish body. Uh, that's what she like. Like she like. That's a kid. That's
Mhm.
a kid body. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That ain't gonna work. It is some people that like it like that, but that ain't
Correct.
that ain't
Correct.
that ain't hitting
Absolutely.
on nothing.
But that's the point that one of the people on the post was making, and I agree. She is going to fall out of what is the acceptable norm in terms of what black men would consider to be the quintessential physical attractive female. The caveat is this: you can take a woman that's a size 0, and if she has nice breasts and somewhat of a behind, somebody's going to flock to her. Now, she may not get them all. She may not have them all like the milkshake girl lined up in the front yard, but she's going to get something. Now, she's going to fall out of the, if we look at the bell curve, she's going to fall right to the right or left of the bell curve. No question about that. She's not going to be highly sought after, just like just like your heavier women are. So that balances out. It's where you find the women that are a size 4 to a size 10 that find the vast majority of men that are physically, at least black men that are physically attracted to them. Now, I say that to say this: every ethnicity on this planet, barring none, has a physical type or phenotype that's considered to be attractive. From Asians, Hispanics, Native Americans, Caucasians, Asians, all of them do. So we get into plastic surgery and BBL specifically because that's what a lot of black women are opting to. The funny thing about that is this: if they hit the weights and do some squats, you can get that behind. But a lot of them are opting to take the easier way out, just like a lot of people who do plastic surgery. And unfortunately, plastic surgery seems to be what a lot of women do because they want to take that shortcut because they want to be physical, they want to be accepted physically for what they present. And I don't begrudge women that. It's a woman's calling card. Beauty is a woman's calling card, although they're trying to make it a man's calling card. I will tell you what, you give me a man that's well to do, marginally attractive, he's gonna get more women than that man who's attractive, but he ain't offering nothing, especially as those women age. Because as those women age, they're gonna want the drippings that a wealthy man could bring. And this is what Kevin Samuels used to say all the time: men will go up in cooperation and down in looks. So while you're younger, you're gonna be able to get a whole lot of men if you're physically attractive, but those looks are only going to last so long. This is why a lot of women you see, especially in Hollywood, they go up under the knife. Why? Because they have to compete with the younger generations that's coming up behind them. But with black women, and I wrote this down, I couldn't believe some of the information that I was finding out. The average height for black women has pretty much remained stable throughout time, at least at least into the 20th century. However, the weight is increasing. So right now, the average weight for a black woman in this country is 185, 186 pounds. Another thing that Kevin Samuels used to always talk about, and I mentioned this before on this platform: Spelman eliminated their varsity programs to focus on health of their incoming freshmen.
Hey.
Hey, what's going on,
Going on,
Shaughnessy?
Shaughnessy?
So when you have all these things and you start to look at what it is that a lot of black women are refusing to do, and I blame black men for this, because this whole thick thing has gotten black women falsely believing that they can be any size and be attractive, and they don't realize the health component that comes behind that. So, with that being said, being thick is not always a good thing. Being a healthy weight and physically attractive are not mutually exclusive. You can be a healthy weight and you cannot be attractive. You can be an unhealthy weight and be attractive, or vice versa. But you have to find what fits you, because we are, even though people like to look at us culturally and physically as monoliths, we're not. You can have a woman that is, let me take somebody like Serena Williams. Serena Williams would be considered thick to somebody, but she's a professional athlete and she works out to obtain that shape. You can take somebody else that would be her height and be her weight, and they're not physically toned, they would not look as good as she does. But somebody would still call her thick, and somebody would be willing to sleep with her because they have low to no scruples. That's why I say this is a male created issue. I know some people are going to be out there and saying, well, that's not true, and this and this and this. Think about it. If black men in mass started walking away from women that are considered physically unattractive, I guarantee you that you will see a whole lot of stuff change in terms of their physical appearance. But because men don't, they don't. There's no incentive for them to, if they can get what they want. And I know we talk about how women conflate sex with a relationship. And if that's the case, then stop sleeping with them. You don't have to worry about anything that they say, anything that they do, because they're not on your radar. But too often, these brothers want to put these women on their radar. They want to pedestalize them. And some of them, when the sun down, they sleeping with them. Why do you think you have see some of these plus size women with kids? Ain't no immaculate conception going on. We have only heard of that once. Fellas, if y'all want this to stop, you got to change what you're pursuing. You got to change what you're doing. And you got to just say, hey, Mom, you too big for me. And she going to come with the same techniques and things of this nature. Or do you tell that to your mama? Do you tell that to your sister? Do you tell that to your niece, your aunt? And you reply, nah, because I ain't trying to sleep with them. So you got to combat their emotional torts with things that they will say, well, whatever. That's it.
So when you just said it, it reminded me of that post I did. It was a couple years ago. It was this brother that worked out Diesel, and it was a scenario I did, and then it was a Caucasian woman. She was kind of thick, but I guess he was sleeping with her, but he had pretty much told her that he wouldn't deal with her in the public. He only, would come over at night, and a lot of people, mainly black women, kind of jumped on that stat and was going in like, was she stupid or whatever the case is. It ain't no way that I can go for that or do that. A lot of them were saying that, but they go for it.
Yeah.
You're not going to advertise it, but they go for it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to leave it at that because we got Shine Dog on here.
So
we don't get her. We don't get opportunity to have her.
Let me understand. What you're saying is, if a woman is big or she is an unhealthy weight, that her man or the men that are attracted to her should hold her accountable by not sleeping with her?
No one can hold anyone accountable for what they look like. What I'm saying is this, because black men are always complaining about black women's weight. The one universal thing that black men have that they can take away from is sex. She ain't got to lose weight. She can stay that size until she dies. But if she wants somebody to get in the honey pie, she's going to have to drop some weight. That's what black men by and large are refusing to do. And that's what David was just speaking to, is that men who do this aren't right because they're quote unquote abusing the woman for whatever reason. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying a woman has to lose weight. She can do what she wants to. She's a free adult. She has her own ability to do whatever it is she chooses to do. What I'm saying is the black men who are complaining about black women's weight are the same ones who will sleep with her but won't tell nobody. That's why I mentioned why do you think why do you think you see so many plus size women with newborn child? It's not by coincidence they're having sex with somebody.
Yeah, but maybe it's a fetish that that man is scared to put out into the atmosphere because of all of the slack that he is gonna get.
Well, okay, let me reply to that in this particular way. What do you think is going to be happen? What do you think is going to occur when somebody sees him with that child and she's next to him?
Yeah, that's true.
He can't hide then.
Yeah.
He's going to have to say, "Yeah, fellas, I as shout out to Jim Rome, as they say, I got caught slump busted." And slump busted is a term. let me explain that. Jim Rome, for people who don't know, is a syndicated radio show
So
host. Go ahead, Dave.
so one of the things is if we didn't have pressure in, and I know you talked about the health component and all of that, and I know, growing up, you would have certain standards and a lot of pressure from your friends, but sometimes it might have been that young lady that was maybe a little overweight, but was might have had a cute face, real nice, good values, and a good upbringing, and a lot of times guys missed out on those type of ladies because they was chasing that silver bullet or those fine ones that they had that person that liked them for years and years, and they passed it up because of what they thought their friends would say. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and you could be unhealthy at any weight. That's first and foremost, and you can be healthier than a lot of people that are smaller than you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, I think um I think that for a man to come to a woman and say, and it just depends now if it's in a sense of motivation, like, okay, I've known you for such and such time, you put on some weight, the way you put on the weight and the reason you put on the weight is because of an unhealthy lifestyle, then I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have kids born with diabetes that
Yes.
they've been thick from the beginning and they're going to be thick to the end,
Mm-hmm.
but they have a regimen and they maintain health and they're healthy, so to speak. It just may be hard for them to lose weight because of the medications or whatever they're on. Um, I think it could be really, really, really layered. The wrong in this I do see is you could sleep with that woman, but you're ashamed of her. So yes, I agree with that part. If you're gonna be ashamed of somebody or you feel like I'ma only love you in the dark, then that's what that's something wrong with you. But also on the other side of it, just like the you were saying the women that jumped on a comment, that's also a self-esteem issue as well.
Yep.
Um, because there are, just like I said, there are women that are thick, they are big, they are healthy. And if a man don't want you next, so I know somebody to like it.
And I think that's what a lot of black women have yet to find. And this is what I was trying to get the female on the post, and she's not on here, so I won't mention her name, but she doesn't have the ability to counter anything that I'm going to say. This is what I was trying to get her to understand is that we as a culture, we adhere to a phenotype of woman. She's got to be the Commodores made matter of fact, the Commodores made the song Brick House. But what people don't realize about Brick House is it was a mathematical equation. It was 2 to 1. This is what, and I'm sure you've heard of this term. This is where you get into the hip to thigh ratio. That's considered a certain quality of attractiveness. This is what people
But
have to
there's some guys that are not attracted to that.
No,
There's some guys that are only attracted to skinny women and
bingo,
not attracted to big breasts, or you can have big breasts and not have a butt, and
bingo.
that's something that they like.
Right.
Um, it that's attraction, but again, I think not only that, society has messed us up too, because now you have skinny girls trying to be thick.
Hmm.
Then you have the girls that were thick or did go get the big, super big BBLs, all trying to remove their stuff because now you got the skinny BBLs.
Hmm.
I think that in a whole, people have to maintain and keep in mind what they like for themselves and being attractive to themselves. And if you find someone that also finds you attractive, then hey, it works. But you have to be happy and comfortable in your skin first.
And I think that's what a lot of people they don't have. First of all, a lot of people are afraid to walk out on that limb and pick a mate, especially men. Pick a mate that's not the run of the mill type of attractiveness. So whether she might be a B cup and she might be a size 2, if that's your speed, hey, grab that gear, man, and work with it. That's you don't have to. You're dating her. You don't have to impress anybody else. And I think when people can emerge from that shadow and say, "Hey, look, man, she doesn't have to qualify to your standards. All she has to do is qualify to my standards." That's why. And Blair had posted uh, yesterday, day before yesterday, for people to say on a scale of 1 to 10, how attractive physically does somebody have to be to you? And I saw a handful of people select 5 or lower. Now, I'm not an individual to tell somebody what you have to date and what you have to settle for in terms of attractiveness, but I saw everything from 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s.
Hmm.
And a brother made a very good comment, one that I hadn't actually even thought about. He said, "Now, if we asked you to post your baby mama or your baby daddy, what would that say?" And I said, "You would see a lot less comments on this post." And this is what people don't understand. And people can say, "Well, at that particular time, that was what I was into." No, that's what you're always into. The only reason you got caught is because you caught that nut. You fertilize that ovum, and now you can't hide from it. You got to claim. You got to claim
Damn.
what you've
But
been
that's
in.
also no, that I have to counter that because while I agree with the baby mamas being ugly, some niggas don't know how to turn their horny off. So they may not be necessarily that attracted to that person, but it was one good night. They was lonely and horny, and that's where they decided to nut.
I'll
So
put
that
it to you.
don't necessarily now, but if you have a stream of a whole bunch of women and they look the same, and they look the same, they continuously look the same, and then you're like, oh yeah, I only date tens and she gotta be a 4. No, nigga, you date 12s. Your track record says this. So you just trying to show us something or prove something or say you like a certain type of woman when that's not true. But again, a lot of and majority of the times when those things come out or when you see the first baby mothers or something like that, 9 times out of 10, they ain't mean to. It wasn't planned. It wasn't planned.
No,
It wasn't planned at all. But at the same time, attractive to you
right.
is the key.
And
Because just because you could be, I don't know, 250, 5'5",
whew,
that could be attractive to somebody. And he can also find the size 4, 140 pounds, just as attractive. And he doesn't see or value their beauty any different.
I agree. That's why I said men have a wide range of what they consider to be attractive.
Hmm.
And just because a man considers something to be attractive doesn't mean he won't deal with something that he deems a little less than attractive. Because for men, yes, men at certain ages in their life will not direct their sexual energy in a manner that keeps them from getting out of trouble. This is, like I said, this is why we have some unattractive, what mainstream people would consider to be unattractive or low desirability, with kids, and not just one kid, they'll have multiple children. So that's what I mean about guys not finding that type of female attractive. See, what guys are doing, this is dirty little secret.
And you could be the ugly friend, and then all of a sudden you
There
left
you
me
go.
on my drawers,
There you go.
and now I find you attractive based off of personality and maybe
Yeah.
how you dress and maybe the way you carry
Mhm.
yourself. So the next person may have to look a little better because they don't offer as much on the back end.
Sure. And you see that. Go ahead, Dave.
And I'm going to say again, with some people, like we often talk about, traveling the path of least resistance, that
Mhm.
that person may not be the best looking person, but you know you're in good hands. You're going there. You worked afternoons. You're tired. You got bath water. Got your favorite drink. Your food there. Everything is set up, and she,
Yep.
she that's what she does. And meanwhile, you have someone else that probably most people would consider a 10, but she ain't got time for that. So where you think he's going, especially depending on his job situation, if it's stressful, he's gonna be over there. And sooner or later, eventually, that's when the kids start popping out and all that stuff, because he finds himself like, I gotta go where peace is at,
Yeah.
and this is where peace
Right.
is at. So, and that's why you always see, like, even when we were growing up, you were like, damn, how them two together? Like, why he with her? Or whatever the case is. But you
Yeah,
kind
and I've
of
seen that, and I've said
understand.
that as well. Both ways. I've seen it
Hmm.
where I'm like, looked at him again, and I'm like, oh yeah, that nigga must have money.
And sometimes it's like that. That's why, when I was younger, I would see couples that I was sweeping down. I'm like, yo, how did you bag that chick, dude? You just, and this is me, just speaking figuratively. I'm like, dude, you ugly. Like you you bottom of the shoe stepped in mud ugly. And you got that
Mhm.
fine ass thing? And it wasn't until I got to be in my late 20s, early 30s that I started to understand the things about physical attractiveness. And it wasn't always about
Mhm.
physical attractiveness.
Right.
Money made it have one shot and made that one
Mhm.
shot count. This is why
Exactly.
this is why I, when I see, because I see it all the time at the hotel. I'm just like, all right, man. Oh, all right, shorty. You do your thing. I no longer judge on physicality. I'm saying they're together for a reason, whether it's a money transfer, a sexual energy transfer, or they get along
Mhm.
transfer. They're together
Right.
for a particular reason. I'm not here to judge anymore on what I deem to be attractive, what I deem to be unattractive, what I deem to be a just a mismatch. I see it too
Right.
much, far too often. I've seen.
To try to even analyze.
Yeah, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I have seen millions upon millions of couples
Mhm.
because of where I work at and the jobs that I've held. And I will tell you now that some of them will have you scratching your head. Short and tall, thin and heavy set. I've seen it. I've seen it all in the gambit in terms of ages, run from young 20 somethings up to your 50s. They're there. And
Mhm.
I'm just like, it is what it is. I've seen
Yeah.
women that come in there flight as a board. She got dude with her that's loped up. I'm like, hey,
Mhm.
I
That's what
see
he like.
dude, I see dude that's like 5'4", 140 pounds, with this chick that's about 5'8", 5'9", and she put together brick house. I'm like,
Mhm.
hey, it is what it is. I'm not here. I'm gonna shake my man hand. I'm gonna give her a wink and say, hey, go enjoy yourselves, live your life. But I'm gonna circle back to, hey, fellas, black men, if you don't like what they look like, stop trying to shame them. Number one. Number two, let them be what they are. And number three, if you're gonna deal with them, let them know up front, straightforward and honest. Shout out to Alan Roger Curry. what the deal is, so that way they can't say you're bullshitting. Just let
Mm-hmm.
them know. Hey, look, I'm only here to catch one, and I'm out like a flatulence in the wind. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't send me no messages on Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat, or all the other social medias, because this is it. Now, the caveat is this: if she blow your doors off, you gotta adhere to that word. If she let me put this delicately, if she massages the Aristotle to your liking, adhere to your word. Don't call her back
Yeah, because it seemed like in that route, that's when a guy decides if that happens, he catches feelings, and now all of a sudden he wants to control the whole environment or the atmosphere after the fact. So sometimes you gotta study situations before you make those bold claims or statements, and you might end up putting your foot in your mouth.
Backtracking. Yeah.
either. Yeah, because I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna tell this little story. The first time I slept with a woman that I would have considered to be plus size, I was like, oh shit, okay. I see why she gets the attention she does, and I'm gonna leave it at that. She was good in the wood. I'm not gonna mention any. I'm not gonna mention any other names. All I'm gonna say is I knocked on her door a few more times after that. And, so and I dated a few heavier women. I've always enjoyed carnal privileges with them. So I'm not gonna tell men don't deal with them. I'm not gonna tell you do deal with them. I'm just gonna tell you don't bullshit them, because that's
Mm-hmm.
that's how you end up getting yourself in a situation where she's saying I'm late. You looking all late? What you mean? Oh, the bus? No, 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 no. I'm late. Oh
Not the
no!
bus.
Oh no! Oh no! I can't have that. You talking about you thinking about Ice Cube in that song? You can't fade me.
Everybody deserves love, though.
Well, but this
Everybody
is the this
deserves
is the
love.
thing though. A lot of people they conflate physical intimacy with love. I don't have to love a woman to have sex with her. I don't have to love a woman consistently to have sex with her. And the same thing goes for women. Women ain't gotta love you, men, to have sex with you. Hell, her flesh itches just like yours, just in a different way. Hey, she may want you. How? What does David say? She may want you to scratch the bottom of that pudding cup.
Yeah,
All it
that's
is.
true. That's
So
true.
I mean, I just understand because it's funny, and I'm probably not the only guy that thought like this. I never considered female pleasure and sex until I got to be in my mid 20s. It was never something that even occurred to me that a female could desire sex as much as a man. Yeah, I'm,
Mm,
try- I'm, I'm trying to get mine off and I'm out. But
mm,
then you no, because at least as black men, we're kind of looked at differently in terms of sex, especially when it comes to black women, because we're looked at people who are supposed to please and not be pleased. This is why I can't believe I'm going to go this route, but I have to. This is why, at least when I got out of high school and I graduated in 1992, it was uncommon to hear about black women engaging in fellatio. We knew Caucasian women did it, but
mm.
you found you a black woman that did it. It was like she do what? Yeah, man. Da, 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 da. Oh wow, I didn't know that. But that gets that gets into some other stories. That gets into some other stories from my past that I'm not going to judge up right now. When we get to that topic, we can.
And I think that's the problem that when you talk about kissing and telling, that when you say that to
Yep, yep.
people that you're around, she becomes more marketable.
Mm-hmm.
So they trying to like like shit, she doing all that with him. Like, damn, I'm gonna holler at. He don't care about her or whatever the case is. I'm trying to get what he getting, and that's when they start throwing salt and all of that stuff, and that's
Yes, sir.
how shit fall out. Or same thing with women. That's why I never believed in that when they talk about that code thing. I don't talk to nobody my friends ever talk to, whatever. Some fucking hogwash. It
Yeah,
is.
I
It's
don't. I mean, I guess that depends on your morals. Because I'm sorry, as soon as you mess with my friend, you're instantly ugly to me.
Well, it's not a it's not about that though. And I understand what you're saying about the friend. What David is talking about is just some also ran who, well, the terminology now would be considered to be a jump off, not even a side piece, a jump off, just somebody you got it in with and gone. You run back and tell your boy, and like David said, she becomes more marketable. So now the guy is thinking, okay, like David said, I know he don't care about her. I want to see if what he said is true. And I've been there. I've been there with a female that I was dating that I had that happen to. So when I found out, I was like, yo, that's fucked up. But I couldn't do anything about it because she's a free individual. I wasn't married to her. We may have been dating, but I mean, that was the extent. I can't tell, even if I'm dating, I can't tell you what to do. And you got some people out there who roll like that. You
Hmm.
got guys out there that will run trains on the female for whatever reason. You have some female out there, whether she's mentally damaged, she's been abused and she's never sought treatment or got treatment for it. They're out there as
yeah.
But
much.
I can't. One thing I will say though, and this is it's not my jam, but I will say that there are women, there are individuals that is a kink for them. That's something that
Yes,
they like.
yes,
And whatever makes you happy, I ain't. Who am I to knock it?
yes.
Yeah,
And
that.
I will go ahead, Dave.
There's couples that do it
that
together. There's couples that like to watch their partner. There's you got all that.
Yep.
I never jumped on that train thing, and that was introduced like when probably when I was in high school, 10th,
Hmm.
11th grade.
Yep.
Some of
Yes.
my crew members,
Yeah,
they
that's
they had
messy and
girls that
messy.
would
Yeah.
that would come through, and they wouldn't go to school that day. They was like, "Nah, we ain't going to school. You going to school? Hell yeah, I'm going to school. I got perfect attendance for the last 5 years. I'm not missing school. Man,
That's the
old
only
girl,
award I'm
about
gonna get. So
yeah, yeah. Some people that was the case. They're like, old girl coming through, and then I'm like, yeah, I can have that. Yeah, I can have that. But I would be intrigued, like when I got from school to get with them and be like, yo, did
and
she
the
come
tea.
through?
You
Hell
wanted
yeah,
to
she came
know.
through,
You
man.
wanted to know.
Yeah,
But
you
there's
should have been
people.
here,
It's
whatever.
you'll be
Like,
so surprised. Like that is real king. There are couples that really participate in this behavior, and then they prefer it to be their friends, and they have a network of people. Um, and I don't know the history of running the train or whether it's derogatory or what, but you have partners. I've heard of husbands wanting to watch their wife with another man, and they wanting to do this. They pick the man, and the wife is okay with it, and it's on.
There's
Just like I said, not my jam, but if that makes them happy, who will read a judge? They
all right.
ain't hurting nobody. There's consent.
Yes.
We can't judge
Let's go a
nobody.
little further down the rabbit hole, and I was going, and this is
uh,
probably one
can see it.
that I'll pose that I'll add to the 100 questions. HBO used to do, and I don't know if they still do it now. They had a long running program called Real Sex where they were doing the stuff that Chauncey is talking about, which begs the question, and I'll put this out there to the listening audience. You can do what you want to with it. If you were in a committed relationship, and by committed I mean married or somebody you are said, I'm down. We are in this together, and whatever goes, we're gonna handle it together. Let's say one of you are in an accident and you suffered a spinal fracture that renders you sexually. and capable, would you allow your partner to enjoy sex without you and still be committed to that individual? Now,
Nope.
nobody has to answer publicly. I'm just
Nope.
putting this
And
out
the
there.
only reason I say that is because there are too many devices, toys, ploys, and ways to play for that to have to be an option.
What if the individual in question likes the physical intimacy and not just the act of the intimacy itself?
You can have physical intimacy with toys. Lesbians do it all the time. All lesbians are not against penetration.
No.
I'm just putting this out there because that's a lifestyle that I know nothing about.
I'm just saying there's all types of stuff, and again, it's always looked at as taboo. Me, I'm a person that regardless of whether I'm interested, my ears be wide open, and I'd be like, for real. And then y'all did what? It's so wait, hold on, explain this to me. How y'all did this? I'm gonna ask because I want to know.
It's not something that
I
I'm
want to
going to
know,
endeavor
but you'll
to
be
understand,
surprised.
but I
Y'all
can
have to
understand.
walk through and I don't know if you guys ever have, but you have to just walk through a sex store. Walk through a sex store, and you're gonna be like, now what the hell? And the most of the time, the employees they're all friendly or whatever, and they explain stuff to you, and they telling you stuff, and you're like, yo, what in the world? And that's the only reason I say what I say because again, there's too many just like I said, toys, options, devices, and all of that stuff. Both ways, I can't see a way where you can't have that intimacy while staying with your partner while using other things. If you're really committed to that relationship. Now, I mean, if your partner is okay with it and that's what y'all decide to do, then cool. But if that at that point, I feel like we wouldn't be together. You kept your lifelong commitment to me. Maybe you still care for me. Um, I had a patient that she had had a stroke, and they probably were like 50 ish. Um, she was really, really bad off, and her and her husband never divorced, but it was okay for them to date or for him to date,
Yeah,
but he took care of her.
yeah.
Like they still lived in the same household.
Mhm.
He didn't bring women to the house. Like he made sure she was okay, still paid the bills, still maintained everything. Took her to doctor's appointments, did everything for this lady. But he dated because, I want to be able to do things. I still have, my life to live, my whole life to live, but my commitment to you is not changed. And if that works for them, that works for them. And I think we can't really, it's hard to, from the outside looking in, and when you're not in that position to really say what you would do or what you wouldn't do. I think that's really hard to say because sometimes you could say, heck no, I would never leave my partner. I would never do that. I would da 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 da. And then you get there and you're in it and you're like, well, I want something different. Or even in the beginning of it, you're all dedicated and then you're like, wait, something has to give, something has to change. You never know until you're really put in that situation.
Yeah. And
and
I'm,
I
I'm
think
go ahead, Dave.
sometimes when that case happened, things change. Maybe the person going through it, they become mean, bitter, and
Agreed.
which leads you into start having a confidant in someone else because
Mm-hmm.
at home you're doing your best taking care of them, but they're they're upset. They're like, damn,
Because they're
I'm
dealing with
40,
their
50
their
years old. I
injury.
got to deal with this. Yeah, and my life will never be the same, but they know they need you, but they're just bitter, mean, and that's what your life consists of. Dealing with them, maybe going to work, and then you come home, got to deal with that, and eventually you may say, damn. And and it depends on what you share with other individuals too.
Mhm.
So some people are master manipulators of information. Once they get that, they they know how to run with it to
Right.
make you fall into their arms.
Mhm. Yep.
Just
Now
something to
let's get
think about, men and women.
yeah. Now let's get to the second part. The bad attitude versus being confident. And we hear this all the time, especially as black men. You can't handle strong black women and you're not confident enough. But this is the question that I'm going to put on the table for people to answer. There's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. We just want to put this stuff on the table so we can have the larger discussion that I think needs to take place. What determines if a woman is confident versus being somebody you just don't want to be around, somebody that would be considered to be uh ornery. I won't say cantankerous, but just insufferable. You know, the term wrestling bitch face. When you see her, she just looks unhappy. She just looks like she just got the weight of the world on her shoulders. She don't want to be bothered. Even when you try and be cordial or do something, she's just like, leave me alone. So what's the difference between the attitude, being confident, and being approachable by a man so that when he speaks to you, it's received in the manner that he's intended. Now, I'm going to go out and say this so everybody understands. I'm not talking about men who can't take no for an answer. They fuck it up for everybody. I'll put that out there now. If 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 enough men are doing that and enough women are suffering from it, then I could understand why women would have, you know, the don't approach me attitude, the resting bitch face, or RBF, and the things that go along with that. So if that
That
is the,
gets hard. Go ahead. I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna
I thought
say,
you were
if
finished.
that is the case, and that is happening to a larger segment of women, because I see this so often in a lot of discussions, that it's hard to determine if that woman is actually speaking of her own experiences or if she's using her friends and relatives' experiences.
I can speak to my own experience, and it gets hard to discern who's who sometimes. There can be, I go out a lot by myself, and that's mainly because I want to be out by myself. Like, I don't want to coordinate with nobody. I don't want to be on anybody's time. I don't want to have to leave when you leave. I don't want to have to go when you want to go. I just want to do my own thing. Um, and a lot of the times when I am alone, there are men that will say hello, will speak, and they're not trying to date me, so to speak. They're just being friendly. Um, and then you have the opposite. But again, sometimes it's hard to discern because you'll sit there and be friendly with the guy and you'll key with him. And then seconds later, he's mad because you don't want to give him your number. And it's just like, no, I just thought we were having friendly banter. Like, that doesn't have to be a thing. But on the opposite side of that, too, I don't feel that you have to come off angry and aggressive as a woman to combat these things. If you're trying to talk to me, I don't want to be talked to, or I don't feel like, look, I'm just here to get my mind together, blah, blah, blah. I don't have to necessarily be rude or nasty to you because I notice you're trying to talk to me. Um, And I think there needs to be an understanding on both sides because, again, every man that speaks to you, says hello to you, open up the door for you, hey, I got this, is not trying to deal with you.
And I think the larger question is in this particular climate now, I'm not even gonna call it a dating climate, in this just particular climate of male and female interactions, I personally believe that men You or we need to be upfront. I'm gonna say it again: upfront, straightforward, and honest with what your intentions are. Give due notice. If you find that woman physically attractive to the point where you just want to sleep with her, and she might be rebuffed by it, she might be actually repulsed, and you might get that heat from that dragon that comes out. And I'm not talking about a breath. That heat from that dragon that comes out that singes your eyebrows. If that's what you're gonna do, then you have to be prepared for that kind of retort. On the opposite end, if you're not, and you get that retort, then you have to find a way to figure out from the way she looks, her demeanor, and it could be where you met her at, time of day. You have to figure out all those things. So the next time you do what's called a cold approach in the dating world, the next time you do a cold approach, that the woman you pick out is going to receive whatever it is that you're giving to her in the light that you want to give it to her. And I'll use this as an example. If you go to a fundraiser, and I always like to use fundraisers because we know why everybody's there. The ice is already broken. What you can lead with then is how long have you been affiliated or associated with this particular uh, um, a, a thing, whether it's juvenile diabetes, um, cancer research, or any number of things that you could particularly picture. Could be a music festival, could be an art museum, or an art exhibit, or whatever it is. The ice is already broken. Some people try and reinvent the wheel when I'm just like, dude, you had a shoe in. How did you mess it up? Well, I got up there and I got nervous and I didn't know what to talk about. Sure, you were already at a fundraiser. What do you mean? It's the same thing with the Super Bowl party. And I keep talking about the Super Bowl party because it's an open invitation. Bring something, 20, 30 people, bring a couple of your female friends or bring a couple of your guy friends and just enjoy the moment. Too many people put too much pressure on themselves when it goes out to meeting people. And this is something I talked about a little over a month ago. Everybody should be trying to meet one new person per month. For whatever reason, expand your circle because then you'll understand how to deal better and how to pick out certain females just based on what they look like that are going to be receptive to the advances that you're putting out there.
I think those smaller, intimate settings open up more options for you to meet someone and really kind of get a different vibe based on the conversation or the overall aura of the evening. When you're at large events and stuff like that, you probably miss a lot of moments uh, that are valuable compared to just a little small,
Yeah.
little get together. So those opportunities are important. And a lot of times, people may pass them up. It might be, say for example, could be a guy like, "Yo, man, come through. Me and my wife doing this. It's gonna be some single females
Right.
here, and you may
Right.
be in a little rut or something like, nah, man, only one I'm gonna know is y'all too, and I'm not gonna, it's such and such coming, and sometimes you just gotta say, you know what, I'm gonna step out the box, and I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go and get pumped up and motivated to go, but
Buddy.
a lot of times people scan out different things, find out reasons why they shouldn't go or do it, and that's what it's missed opportunities in that. Seize the moment, folks.
Yeah. You have you have to, and to the smaller, more intimate settings, absolutely.
I
But
feel
like,
like if you want something, no matter where it is, you go get it. Shoot your shot.
Shall I go on Frozen?
Can you
Yeah,
hear
that's
me?
all.
That
Oh.
opportunity.
Hmm.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I was saying, to me, I don't think it should matter what type of setting that you're in. If you're interested, then go ahead and go for it.
Some people they lack, they need a little bit of a push because they're not confident. And that's the other thing that some people might not understand is that we a person doesn't have that type of confidence that they can go out there and do for themselves, they petrol. It's like putting them, it's almost akin to having them on open mic night. They got a monologue set up, but the moment they grab the microphone, they forget everything. And some people they get that. They
I could tell you.
go ahead, Dave.
No, I was gonna share this story. I remember. I always went out with my boys, and I think it was one time, and I shared that. What's his name? Greg. He always loved that line. When I talked about the happy hour, when I met this young lady at the happy hour, and I hit her with the old Minister Society line when he pulled up in the vehicle, and the chick, I don't know, she was bent over, and he was like, he'd love to take care of her body. And I
Oh my
remember
God.
saying that,
No. Immediately, no.
and I used that at a happy hour when some young lady was, you know, getting something from the vending machine. And I had said it, and she was like, "Oh yeah," and somehow we end up talking. We exchanged numbers, but she had called me the next day, and then she was like, "Well, I'm going to be at this club tonight. I want you to come, come there, come through." And I'm like, so because at the time I'm used to just going out with my boys, so I never went out like by myself, like at a spot. So one of my main man, he was like, "Man, I gotta work, man." He was like, and I just took this day off. Like, damn, I wouldn't mind rolling, but I can't afford to take off whatever. I ain't trying to get in no. He says, no, situation at work. So he said, "Man, you gonna have to roll by yourself." And I'm like, damn, because I'm not the most talkative person. Like, I'm just gonna go through and just be roaming and meeting the crowd and all that. And I'm like, damn, man, what does that look like? Being somewhere that you may not know anybody in there and you're just lurking. And well, I did. I ended up going there by myself and ended up meeting her, and we had a time. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. But sometimes people, as her was saying, are not comfortable or confident. And I remember being at that stage that, like, damn, going out by myself, like shit, like, what, I'm just gonna stare or be just standing there, because I'm not the type to go, "Hey, I'm such and such." That's just never been my style. So I understand that it's a lot of people that's older in situations that they're not confident, and maybe their confidence got broken or been through situations that they're not aggressive, or just know how to kind of fill in the blanks, whatever, to know what to say, when to say, and have that perfect timing.
Yeah, and this particular aspect brings to mind a movie, and for those of you who are Tom Hanks fans, I'm sure you've heard of the movie Big. Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was a younger boy masquerading the man's body, and he met up with the older woman. And what did she do? She broke him out of that shell. The next morning he came to work. He's a whole different person. So sometimes, and this is one of the few times that you will ever hear me recommend a younger man. When I say younger man, I'm talking somebody that's in their mid 20s, so about 24, 25, maybe 26. Go deal with an older woman. I'm not saying you have to have sex with her. Go sit with her. Go talk to her. Go hang out with her. Hey, take her out to dinner. She might tell you how to dress. She might teach you how to speak. She might teach you how to do a whole lot of different things that'll enhance your masculine essence. So that when you come around women your own age, not only do you appear to be older, you appear to be confident. You appear to be all those things that she wants, and she's gonna think you older. Why? Because you've been dealing with somebody who's put you up on game, and you're gonna say, "Well, yeah, this is who I am. I'm like David. I'm the strong, silent type. I don't say a lot. My actions speak. But if I need to speak, I can speak." Some people have to realize what their niche is and feel it. I'm the type of person I love to talk, so I'm gonna find a woman who's an attentive listener. I might talk her ear off. However, I'm going to make sure that she's included in the conversation, and this is a skill that some people have to develop. You have to be able to develop the art of storytelling, but you have to do it in such a way that the stories you tell, they're entertaining, they're kind of open ended, they kind of can get a laugh, they kind of can get a whoa, 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 whoa. What did you just say? You got to get something that makes people think, that just makes people say, did he just really say that? Like, I know he ain't that audacious. Like, this dude is crazy. But you know what? They will never forget you. And sometimes that's what you got to be banking on. Because you may not be a fit for her, but she'll say, you know what? You're such a cool cat that I'm gonna introduce you to one of my friends. It's all about expanding what you have. And
Well,
like I always say,
s-
what's in your tool belt?
speaking of older women, I'm gonna say this. Thanks, Mom, for shooting that down. Uh, when I when I was younger, I had I think I might have been like 21, and and I know y'all probably thinking like that's not even fair. You can't blame your mother for that. I had older women. It was probably maybe a year younger than my mother or whatever. They were they were, but keep in mind that my mother is 18 years older than me, so she had me when she was younger. So, but as I got older, there were some ladies that she was associated with. They was trying to holler, especially when I turned 21. And my mother, a little cock blocking, whatever. But
I feel like that's nasty work trying to deal with your homegirl son. I don't care what the age difference is.
hold on, Shaughnessy, let me get by. So she kind of shut it down, like, oh no, no, that's my baby,
As she
whatever.
should.
Like, listen, I'm
And I
21.
might know you as you being my friend, I might know you a trained killer. I'm not about to have you have my son or allow my son to talk to you, knowing you're gonna have him twisted and no, 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 no way. And I feel like yes, over 18, well, not over 18. Let's say over 21. There are two adults and everybody is free to deal with who they want to deal with at that age, but I think there's a certain way that goes about it, and it depends on how you're carrying on that situation. I don't think every age gap has to be predatory. I don't think um I don't think every age gap is predatory, but it's is it manipulative is what I think is a key factor. Are you manipulating the situation? I know there's men that are less confident in themselves or they want to be able to control a woman and they go for younger women. If that's the case, then you're dead wrong. But if you happen to meet somebody that does have an age gap and you guys genuinely and truly fall in love, um, you guys are, I don't want to say both equally successful, but you guys have some things in common. Maybe you work together, maybe you met each other on a job, then sure,
Mhm.
sure. But everything is like Drea, we all know that was predatory. That was manipulative. Now, the basketball player, now he may be happy. I'm not saying that he was not happy, but with her history, knowing who she is, that's where the problem comes in. This is not no random lady he met in Tennessee while he was on the road, and he liked how she looked and he was attractive, and she's like, boy, please. And she started talking to him, and she like, oh my God, this 22-year-old got me in a loop. No, it wasn't that. She focused on him, and she preyed on him, so to speak. By even in earlier days, I heard she even became friends with his previous girlfriend. That was her way into
Oh,
him.
oh,
Yep. She was attending games, and Drea was kikiing. There's supposedly a selfie of them two floating
Talking about
around.
Jalen Green from
Yes.
you talk.
Supposedly,
Okay, all
yes.
right.
Supposedly Drea was kikiing with the girlfriend, and because she was kikiing with the girlfriend, that's even how they even got around each other or got introduced to each other.
that's
But it
grimy.
was just like, yeah, it seems
Grimy.
like
That's
you put
grimy.
yourself in a position, and no, I'm not going to
Mm.
say you were grimy to her, because no, it could be a girl that you were just out with, and you saw on the stands and y'all were kikiing. But it just, the whole situation seems predatory, and it's just weird. It's just really weird, because we know she has a lot more experience than him. She is able to manipulate the situation.
Whew, I will say this much. Ah, yeah, I was 24. Happened to deal with a couple women who were double digit years older than I. Matter of fact, one was 34, one was 36. Met one. I'm not
Where
gonna
you
name the
meet these
club.
ladies at Herb?
I'm not gonna name the
Huh?
club. I'm not gonna name the club. I'm not gonna name the club. All I will say this: it is a club that was in Niagara Falls, New York, near Whirlpool Bridge. If you're familiar with Niagara Falls, New York, and you know the clubs, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, oh well. Met her
Oh,
there. New Year's
Farrell's.
Eve. New Year's Eve. I'm not confirming or denying anything. New Year's Eve,
Talking about
her and I
Farrell's.
met up. New Year's Eve, her and I met up. And the music was so loud, I guess, that she thought I said I was 34 when I was 24. Now, now mind you, New Year's Eve, I'm dipped. I'm dipped. Black slacks, nice little turtleneck, the vest. I'm looking the part. So for me, when I found out that that's what she thought I said, I was like, hey, look, I don't care. I'm in. And I'm gonna handle my business. So
First of all, hold on before you tell your story. She know damn well she can look in your face and tell if you 24, 30. Not in all cases, but eh, unless
I
there's
wouldn't
some
ask, I
mitigating
wouldn't ask no questions. I wouldn't ask
circumstances,
no questions.
you should be able to tell.
I wouldn't ask you no questions. But you know, honestly, the funny thing about it is when I look at myself being 24 and 34, there's not a whole lot of difference between the way I look. I didn't start growing facial hair like this till I was in my 30s, like mid to late 30s. I never had facial hair, goatee. My goatee connected probably when I was about in my 40s. Facial hair like this, I was never a facially hairy person. Shit didn't come. And I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't care now. I'm old. I ain't in the
Yeah,
clubs
and
anymore.
age, I mean, you can get somebody's age confused. I know I deal with it a lot at work
Uh-huh.
amongst colleagues.
Uh-huh.
They'll say, they'll say I'm a lot younger, or the question always comes out, like I'll talk to somebody or I'll be kikiing with somebody, and they're like, how old are you? And I'll tell them, and they're like, okay, you threw me off. You look young.
Uh-huh.
But when I started talking to you, I'm like, no, she can't be that young.
Right.
So it could be, you know, I could see that happen in both ways, where you're holding conversation with an individual, and their maturity level, their thought process, the way they speak, you will think that they are older than what they are, and they just look good for their age. And then it comes out that they 10 years younger than what you even thought they were. And you're like, And I don't feel like because of that, you have to necessarily cut down or turn off that chemistry. But again, it's all in whether you're being manipulative and predatory.
Now, her and I like I said, it was New Year's Eve. We was at the spot, and at the time I wasn't drinking, so it certainly wasn't bad for me. And I don't believe she was drinking that night either. And my mother happened to be out of town. I can't remember where she was then, but needless to say, we rang in the new year.
Dang.
We rang in the new year.
Okay, now, okay, that's what I'm talking about. TikTok.
Right.
We rang in the new year. And the funny thing about it was this. I think my boy was with me. He's in Florida now, but my boy was with me. And we had stepped out, and she had actually came back the next day sometime in the afternoon. I was like, oh shit, I didn't even realize that. It was like, oh well, missed another opportunity, to dance and prance. But I mean, it is what it is. So I mean, like I said, get around people that can teach you stuff. Get around people that you can learn stuff from, whether they're older, younger. Get around somebody who's going to open another door for you, because any door.
What has you cracking up?
Earl Pugh says I should have been in church. Well, church was the father's thing.
Only to leave church to go out. So that's what most people
Church was the father's thing from what I was thinking there. But like I said, man, get around people who can open another door to another facet of living. Open the door to something else that you can learn. Because everything that you never know when it becomes useful to you, or you can put it to use for you. That's why when people talk about, oh man, I'm not trying to learn anything, or I'm not trying to do this, I'm not trying to do that. I'm like, why not? Especially if you plan on traveling. We hear about the passport bros this and the passport bros that. You don't even have to travel overseas to get that kind of experience. You can go, depending on where you are in this country, you can go to Mexico and get that kind of treatment. You can go to Haiti. You can go to the Dominican Republic, and I know those are considered places you need passports to get to, but still, you can go on a cruise and meet people from different places. I always say I'm blessed because I work in hospitality and tourism, so I get to meet these people. So kind of I get a taste of their language, not necessarily their culture. I get to have conversations with them, like my coworker who's from Mauritius bumped into or had some people that checked in from South Africa. And if you're familiar with South Africa and where Mauritius is, it's a 6-hour flight. He rarely gets to meet people who actually knows where he's from. He had a great dialogue with him. Those are the type of connections that I'm talking about, human connections. So when you encounter somebody who might be off-putting, you might have the tools and the skill set to say, hey, look, boo-boo, I understand you having a bad day. I'm only here as a ray of sunlight on your cloudy day. You can accept the ray of sunlight, or you continue to have the cloudy day. Now all of a sudden you got her put in a position to where she continue to act like that, or she can open up. Most women, if they're not hardened to the point where they don't want to be bothered, they'll open up. And there's a song, Billy Joe song, and the lyrics go like this. You know what? You might be right. I might be crazy, but I could be just the lunatic you're looking for. I remember saying that to somebody else, and they looked at me like I was crazy as hell. And then they started laughing, and I said, look, I can't claim that. It's just a song that I know. But it spoke to my personality. It said I'm not such a hard ass that everything I say has to be serious. Sometimes the worst thing that we can do as people, especially men, is take ourselves too seriously to where we can't be funny. Think about some of the best comedians you've ever known. They talk about sometimes where they fucked up, but they do so in such a way that allows people to laugh with them and not at them. So if you're putting yourself in a position to where you think you can't laugh at yourself, then you're gonna have a long, hard existence because you're always gonna take yourself too seriously. Learn to laugh, which is learn to laugh at yourself, learn to laugh at people who laughing at you. Because they might say, hey, look, man, I understand I was in that position yourself. All of a sudden now you've made a connection. You made a connection, you probably made 100 connections that you don't even acknowledge because you only got to partake in the one. And that's okay. But you got to build that bridge. We are at the point now where when we get rejected, we want to ask ourselves why. We'll blame her. Oh, she's just this and she's just that and this and this. Go back and retool. Say, okay, like I said earlier, what's the place? Hey, it could have been the cologne that you wear. The cologne that you wear may have reminded of the next that cheated on her, messing with her best friend, gave her a disease, a number of things. We don't know what's going through somebody's head. We can't psychoanalyze every person that we meet, and you shouldn't be trying to, unless you're getting paid. So open yourself up to being human, making contacts. Shout out to Ron Wills. Hope you're doing better, Ron. Open yourself up to meeting people just by walking up and talking to them with no intent. Just you might want to say, "Hey, my name is Daniel. I'm on a quest to speak to 10 different women, just so I can enhance my self confidence." And you never
And
know what might. Go ahead, Dave.
and that I never used it, but I think that approach may work for some because
Mm-hmm.
I can even say when I was like in class going because I was real ultra quiet, and I even can even say even when I was going through my admin leadership program because a lot of those people they were teachers and I was like really like the only counselor in there but was trying to get my administrator certificate, so sometimes I often felt out of place, but I said to myself I need to say I need to raise my hand and it would be like a Saturday class that we would be in there from like I think the hours from like 8 to 2:30, and I was like in the morning I got to raise my hand at least 3 times. In the
Yeah.
afternoon, I got to
Mm-hmm.
be able to get off at least 4 or 5 times in this class. And I tell you, I felt a whole lot better when that happened. And I was like, damn, I got it in. So, but when we were younger, I think we used to challenge each other. And this was probably in our late teens, 20 something, going out with the fellas. And one of the things was, oh, and this is before the cell phone thing. So
Yeah.
a lot of times shit used to be written on your hands. They'll be fading off a piece of paper or something. But one of my boys be like, yo, we get in the car at the end of the night. How many numbers you get? How many numbers you got?
Yeah.
And if you came up empty, he would say, and I'm shout him out. Shout out to Igor. He would say, "Man, you might as well fucking stayed in the house and sat on your fucking hands. You ain't got no numbers, whatever. Like you ain't get nothing." So at the end of the night, you wanted to come with you wanted to come with something, even if it was just like, "Yeah, I'm settling now, but I can't get in this car without nothing."
Yeah.
Because when it came to it, when if it was one car just going to the destination and the car was over capacity or they knew like okay I'm down on going, people wouldn't get numbers. Your ass stayed at home. You're like, yo, don't even worry about calling him. That's just a wasted car seat, whatever. Don't even call him. So you always wanted to be in the mix to be able to like, damn, yeah, I came up tonight.
Yeah, and it's a confidence builder. Not everybody's not born confident, and nobody's born competent. You got to competency is something that takes time. Whatever it is that you want to be competent in, you're going to have to put in that work. Period. There is no other way around it. There is no shortcut to it. Everybody that's achieved something worth them talking about, I guarantee you, where every hour that they talk about it, they probably spent 10 hours practicing it. Me, I can get in front of a person like this live and do this, but believe you, the hours I spent at rehearsal on plays, running lines, doing this, doing that, playing sports, hundreds of hours behind the scenes that nobody other than the people who were with me saw. So what you see now is a byproduct of the things that I've put in before. Like I would, I'm gonna tell you how kind of maniacal I am. At home, I would have imaginary discussions with people. I'll play one role, then I'll get into another mind frame, and I'll play another role, and I'll do that for 10, 15 minutes. And then I
Sound
look
like
around, I say, man, I'm telling you. And then I look around and I say, I'm glad that nobody else is in here because people would think I'm downright crazy. But it works. And it's worked so well that I can get here and have no intrepidations, no compunctions about speaking. You got some people that can't do it. They're terrified of public speaking to the point where the thought of it makes them physically ill. And they say, "How can you do it?" I said, "Man," I said, "This is easy." I said, "I've gotten debates with people when I ran for public office. I can stand up in front of people and do this. But mind you, that's also my job. So the person that I'm checking in across the counter, I don't know him, never met him, probably will never ever see him again. I will be able to speak to him. I gotta treat him just like I speak to Dave, I speak to Shaughnessy, I speak to Anita, I speak to anybody else. Just open up your mouth, let the words flow, and that's what it is. There's there's no need. I know I can say this. There's no need to really be nervous, but you have to overcome that fear. You have to overcome that apprehension and that anxiety. And once you do that, and you do it repeatedly, in 2 years you'll find yourself comfortable with you, and in 3 years you'll find yourself not only comfortable with you, but comfortable with speaking with strange people. And then in 5 years, you find yourself saying, hell, I talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere. But I've also been aided
That's
by going to large cities by myself and having to ask for directions, like Dave said, because this was before cell phones came out. So if I wanted to learn how to take the train when I went down to see my boy in New York City, I had to ask a question, whether it was a police officer or somebody. I had to take a risk. Hey, what train takes me here? You take this, and okay. But you got to start. Got to start.
that's why it's important, like we said a couple weeks ago, to have male and female groups to start working together and
Mhm.
doing things like, I don't know, maybe 10-week sessions, and you have something in place week one, week
Mhm.
two, and it's just a place you get together and you you do things, whether it's resume building, job interviewing, dating stuff. It's a place and a time to be able to have that people can come. Now, a lot of people, maybe guys, are like, I'm not going to that shit. I already know
Mhm.
how to do that. But slowly, they'll start creeping in when they see that it's some success, or, of course, you in this day and age, with social media and all that stuff. You had an event that the guys got together and they're like, man, I seen you on the picture. What was y'all doing? Oh, man, I had a ball, whatever. I did this. It led me to getting this job, or I end up getting this date or something. People will change their mindset. These sessions can be quite productive. That's what Renee said. What Greg said. Later tonight, tune in for live stream with Herb Lewis will debate himself. Let's see who wins the debate. Greg.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think it's an opportunity for people to do that, and I think when that happens, if it's a shift to that where adults are getting professional development outside of the BS they have to go to for work, and it's a kind of laid back environment, that's when you'll start seeing households and communities change, because people will be looking forward to it. Like, I got something to do Saturday. Me and the guys getting together. We're all going fishing. Now, some people are like, I never went fishing before. But you sitting there with some guys and y'all doing it like that. I mean, the possibility is endless. If I'm talking, I got all ideas. I just ain't about to put the shit together. I need a ghostwriter, somebody to come up with something, put it together, and you'll see. And then, just start having like membership fees and stuff like that. You'll see a shift in certain things, and it could take off. I truly believe that.
Yeah. I mean, like Greg said, no time wasted trying to improve yourself. There's no such thing as no time wasted trying to improve yourself. And I agree. Every time, I I mean, I'll tell you how maniacal I am. I pride myself in my penmanship, but my penmanship, as far as I'm concerned, even though I get compliments from people, needs improvement. It just does. It's sometimes it's not good, sometimes it's not crisp, sometimes I can't read it. And another thing that I need to improve on is spelling. I'm a terrible speller. I just am. I don't take it serious enough, and then combined with my bad typing, I read some of the stuff I've sent years before, and I'm just like, damn, dude, can you speak? Can you write well? Can you? So all those things I'm trying to improve, and I would tell anybody always try to better yourself. Even an incremental improvement puts you a step away from where you were yesterday and a step towards the next level of mastery that you need in your life or that you may want to achieve in your life. Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop. Keep pushing.
I wanted, and we could do that quickly. As far as the last segment, classy versus cool, that whole thing. When you think about, even for guys, classy chicks, then it's always this cool down chick. What's your take on that? Because some guys kind of like a balance, um, where some guys they looking for that kind of that Barbie doll image, like, oh, you need to be like this, you need to be like that all the time, where sometimes you don't mind a lady to let her hair down and just go with the flow, and y'all spending the day together and casually, and you're okay with it. So that's another thing. But I think it one of the things that's concerning or alarming, that, and I know women to say the same thing, that, oh, too many men act like women, but then also in that case there's too many women that act like men. So sometimes it's hard to decipher, like, damn, what do you want to be like? Because shit, we already know, like, besides dresses and stuff like that, pretty much everybody still, we just talked about that the other week, everybody looked the fucking same, what they have on, everybody looked the same. everybody got the same sense of fashion, whether you're wearing the Nike ones, Air Force ones, Jordan ones, the fucking fedora hats and all that shit. Everybody looked the same. So what are we gonna do?
I'm gonna give
Cool versus classy.
one word answers for men. If you're looking to find out what kind of woman you're dealing with, can she wear heels, sneakers, and flats and still be somebody who you can vibe with? Because if her clothes is matching her footwear, then you're gonna get three different people and you never know who you're gonna be dealing with. For women, can he wear a I won't say sweaters, but some men will say, can he wear a sweater? Can he wear a button-up shirt with the top two buttons unbuttoned? And can he wear a dress shirt and shoes and still be himself? That's what I'll give you in terms of classy, because you shouldn't change based on your environment. You should be who you are, regardless of your environment. So if you're a cool person, you're going to be a cool person. You just realize that there's certain things that are going to be unacceptable. So you learn how to whisper. You learn how to talk in a softer voice. You learn that when you come into a speaking engagement, to turn your cell phone off, put it in your pocket. You learn when to applaud. You learn when not to speak. You learn to listen first before you speak. You learn to take in another person's opinion and not necessarily have to respond. And you also grow to understand that just because somebody says something that might be mildly offensive, you also don't have to respond. And you also hopefully will develop the ability that when somebody says something that's offensive, you can learn how to undress the comment and get them to understand that while you may not be offended, it can be offensive to certain people. These are things that going through life that you learn to master, because you never know what company you might be in. You might be at a function, like David said, an intimate function, where you got some higher ups that you may not even know about that might be looking for people to step in and take positions. And they say, you know what? My name is such and such. I like how you handled that situation. Here's my business card. We're looking for a VP of this department. Give me a call. I would love to talk to you. These are the type of things that could happen if you're in the right situations and you handle yourself correctly. That's what I'll tell you about class and confidence.
I'm laughing at Greg. He said, and does that guy mumble around awkwardly, or does he use the high class pickup line he learned from David? Hey man, it went high class. I look at it was timing, man. It was well calculated, and clearly I must have had something that resonated and said, you know what? He gave me his number. She called.
Yeah,
and we had a time, and actually she wanted to have more times. But we all know my Canada experience. I don't fuck with Canada like that. So it just was just was no way that it just wasn't. And she was a good person, and I just like I just couldn't mess with, because you don't even understand. Like back then, I think she had worked like security for Toronto Raptors. She was the head of that. She had some position, and she like, anytime you want to come to one of these games, you could be there and you could be intimate with, like, she was like for example, she's like, we know when Jordan come here, we always got to make sure he has his cognac and all of that stuff. Like, she was that close. She was like, you could be up in there like that, but that Canada thing, I got torched from that, and I still haven't. I probably need therapy behind that, because I don't mess with that, man. I don't mess with
man.
it like that.
I love the Great North. Maple leaves and maple syrup. Ah,
Yeah, so that's that. Well, gang. I mean, you know, this is kind of like putting a bookmark in a book, and like we will continue, but we're not gonna belabor uh, uh the point. We're gonna move on to the next subject area, but we can get ready to close out tonight's show. Uh, her Shauna she didn't drop down.
yeah. I
But
think she
we
might be at
always
work.
appreciate when she pop in and bring her feedback. It's always appreciated. And again, like I've been advertising, if you want your own segment or you got something going on and you say, hey, I want to, because like I said before, you're probably not going to get in the Club Shay Shay. But you can come to the counselor's corner and say, "Hey, let me get some work in. Let me talk. I got this on my mind, or something bothered me that was said in the counselor's corner, or whatever the case is. You can come on here. You could have the platform. You could be interviewed. You could be someone. Oh, I'm running for this, or I got a new book that's coming out, or anything. You come in here, get interviewed, and get your stuff up, because this is uh all exposure is good exposure.
Yep.
So hey, that offer is still out there for people, or if you just say, nah, I don't want a personal interview, but I do want to join the panel, because as you can see, this world has shifted to the podcast format, and everybody's doing it, but you may say, want to start my own podcast up, and we talk about it. It just ain't easy to put a order a mic kit and all that stuff and get on here and start talking, and then you have comments coming through and all that. So you gotta. Not saying we're experts in anything. We still at it. We just enjoy conversating and having these adult conversations because we know they're needed, but we're like I say to many, our conversations, we might be ahead of the game. A lot of stuff that we've already talked about, people are still they're just starting to talk about it. So for that, I always appreciate her, for joining me in this ride, and we just keep plugging at it, and everything's been organic. I ain't buying the subscriptions for subs and all that stuff. It's just all organic. Like you subscribe, you join, or whatever the case is. And hey, I like how, because I'm competitive, I like how stuff just grow, and sometimes it grows at a snail's pace, but keep pushing forward. But again, if you're someone to say, hey, I want to get into that, like couple weeks ago, my nephew was on here. He plays in the ABA basketball league, and they got their playoff game coming up this Saturday. And he said he wanted to get into podcasting. I said, hey, I could be your executive director. We can make it happen, because I know young people, they roll with young people. If you get on here and you get a mic and you got a little something in place, you're going to get an audience.
Yeah.
You're going to get an audience. You're going to elevate your game, because you can see that by the NBA, like all the podcasters in the NBA, Paul George, Draymond Green, and people like that, hey, they got a voice and they're utilizing it. So people are utilizing their voice in a different way. And sometimes it's just getting on the mic and just talking. And because, again, I always tell people, most of the people at work don't even know I do anything like this. The ones that do, they say, like my barber, how the fuck do you got a broadcast or anything? You don't talk. You don't talk. But I got a voice, powerful voice. I just don't share everything with everyone. And when I do, hey, look out. Somebody found out earlier today. earlier in the broadcast. But that's neither here nor there. So just basically saying if you want to be a part of it, or you may just want to join the panel. We don't. We love having panel members come in and giving their different energy and expertise and joining, and I think that makes it more powerful and more informative when you have different people from different backgrounds sharing. And I think that's the only way that we can build and connect and change the dynamics. And I'm serious about the men and women groups. Need more of that. We really do. And I think if something like that is in place in every community, I know they have block clubs and stuff like that, but I think it need to be something concrete that's done. And you'll see people. I can just visualize it, just like random people coming in. You're like, damn, I didn't know you did that, or you did that, or man, I was looking for a job, and now I think the possibility would be great. So I think you just got to get the right people, have some task force groups, and then make it a national model that everybody is utilizing it. Okay. Something to think about.
Yep.
That's probably my closing comments with all that stuff I said, and I'm done. Any comments you want to close out with her?
No, I hard to follow that up, but I will say this: in Black America, we do have some male female relationship rough spots, and those aren't going to work themselves out overnight. And you know what? Long term, they may never work themselves out. But I will tell you this: one by one, brick by brick, you choose what side you on by either adding a brick to the wall or taking away a brick from the wall. How things go depends upon us. So if we want that wall to continue to grow, we place another brick in there that stymies the conversation. If we want things to change, we'll take away a brick that allows the conversation. What brick are you going to add? Or what brick are you going to take away? And as always, growth and understanding occurs in the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time.
Greg says security, huh? She should put you in handcuffs. Yeah, well, I tell you, that time we had a time, she could have me in handcuffs, boy. But that's for a different subject, different time. Greg, I like you, man. You always keep me on my toes, whatever. Always keep me on my toes. But yeah, that part right there, you said. All right, good people. We out. On to the next one. Look, stay tuned for the clips throughout the week. And if you're someone who was listening and you got a subject for the week, send it in and we'll talk about it by being smart or being foolish. Yeah, it's all good. Whatever. Life is about experiences and what you make it. Good, bad, or indifferent. You just gotta roll with it. I think the key thing is to be able to live through it and have a sound mind to be able to tell these stories and actually be able to remember them. And some people at this age, they can't remember anything, or shit, their past is a blank, and they can't put all their thoughts together, whether that's through trauma or drug and alcohol abuse or something. But hey, I'm still blessed to have a sharp mind and still be able to deliver information that hopefully people listen and take heed to. But again, with that said, we out. On to the next one.
Right, people.
Stay tuned.
Take care.
Who knows? If you post some food up in the group, you never know. You might be up in the Counselor's Corner Cafe next week. You never know. All right, good people. We out. On to the next one. Peace.